friends who love nail art as much as I do. We are doing an on-trend nail today. It is a quickie, so this one is a super fast one for the salon. A lot of fun though. So starting with our color palette for spring, so the dusty, I'll call that a dusty peridot, or not peridot. Wow, not a peridot. Periwinkle. A dusty periwinkle and a nude or tan color, depending on how you see it. I see it as a nude. Some people would say that has a hint of tan in it. Either way, that kind of camel color is all I can ever think of when I see it. So that is our background color for this. And then we're going to do some color blocking. You could do this in a much thinner line, but I wanted kind of a funky throwback to the 70s, because that's all this reminded me of, trend. And this has a hidden secret. So these gel paints are color changing gel paints, which I thought was so much fun. And I've had them for almost a year now and I haven't played with them yet. Isn't that sad? So I decided today was the day I was going to play with them. I just messed up my line there. So you can see I'm just using a marbleizing tool to kind of pull that off. It's not really going to show once I paint over it, but I just wanted to scrape out the line a little bit so it was a little more clear or a little more straight. So what I'm doing is just going down and painting from one edge of the nail at a diagonal to the other. We are going to leave that bottom section blank, so we're going to leave it as the cream color. Because it just looks nice. You do want to take your time when you do these lines, especially if you're not real comfortable with hand painting these type of lines, because it can get messy, but the good thing is you can fix it. If you're really unsure, you could absolutely do one section at a time and then cure it in between. I did not do that because I don't worry about those kind of things at this point, but you could. That way, if you mess up your next line, you could just take your alcohol wipe and wipe it off if you didn't like it. But again, I think, they're pretty easy. It's a free flow kind of thing. It's not it's not a big deal. It's not supposed to be absolutely perfect. It's hand painted. On the second nail, we're going to go from the opposite side and we're going to start painting at the bottom instead of the top. And we're going to do the same thing going up. For those of you that might have caught my last video, I talked a lot about trends. This is another trend. So color changing nail polish, color changing nail paint is becoming a big trend, kind of like cat eyes did early in the spring. Cat eyes are still around. They're not quite as popular since the big viral blow up of the hearts around Valentine's Day. I would love to try that with stars or something though, so I might dabble in that a little more. The cat eye is still around. It's just not as big a trend. It'll probably come back in the fall because a lot of the cat eye colors are more jewel tones. And so with the spring, we're seeing more of those brighter colors and softer colors. French and color blocking and simple, short, sassy nails are all the trend right now. Sparkle or glitter without a lot of color backing. So think of it like a jelly glitter. So kind of what's on my nails, where it has that see-through to it, are really popular for this spring and summer. Going back to shorter nails, natural lengths is a big deal. Very big out, just so you all know, a very big out right now is having what they call mobster mama nails. Otherwise known as those long stilettos and those long square nails where they came down in these weird funny shapes. All of that is out. So if your clients are still doing those, if you are still doing those, it is time to give that up now and move to a natural length nail and more of a squoval or a square oval or a ballet or a very, very short stiletto if you really, really love the stiletto. Are all shapes that are in. I haven't done anything much with these. These are an older style. They're a coffin nail, technically. I call them a squared almond because that's really the shape that it is. What I'm doing right now, so because what we're going to do with those other 2 nails is create some fun little dot flowers. These are super easy to do at home as well as in the salon. You're using a marbleizing tool. I just put some of the color down from my colors that I used to make the rainbows, and what I'm doing right now is doing a bunch of dots, and then we're going to connect those dots with I think they call it a D-liner brush. I just call it a liner brush. At the end, but first we're going to put all our flowers in. So when you do this, it's important to let your flowers run off the edge, and if you screw it up like I just did, you can just wipe it off. I know it's a little orange under there, don't worry about it. It's not going to show once we get it all done. So making some of your flowers run off the edge gives it a more realistic look, almost like it's wrapping paper or wallpaper or something, where it doesn't just end, or it's only on the nail. Some of it can run off the nail, and that is completely fine. The other thing you have to be careful of is the brain will want to organize these in lines or in a certain direction. And when I was learning to paint, one of the things my uncle said all the time was if you painted a lot of tree branches, if you weren't careful, all your tree branches would look scared after a while. And he was right, because they all go in one direction and they all go, wah! Like they look like fingers pointing everywhere. The same thing can happen with these dot flowers. You just got to kind of be careful. You have to intentionally be random. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the best way I can describe it. You have to intentionally be random. What I'm doing right now is putting a little bit of paint on my liner brush, just a tad, just a little dab, and then using that to help me pull those colors in so that they look a little bit like petals instead of just dots. I just feel like it finishes the flowers better. I see the little dot flowers everywhere and I'm like, oh, those are so cute. And then I do them on a nail and I go, oh, those are so ugly. I don't know why. I just do. It's a hang up. It's my personal hang up. If you do great dot flowers, I love you for doing great dot flowers. I just can't seem to do it. So I like to drag mine down and make little petals out of them. You do what makes you happy. So if you don't like doing that, then leave them as dots. And if that makes you happy, then awesome. You are going to be putting, or I am going to be putting some centers in these when I'm all done. So I'm just taking out, I think, a little yellow now. Yep, so that I can put some yellow centers in. And I put way too much paint on the palette. I don't know why I did that, but that's okay. And I'm going to make little dots in the middle, and then we are going to be done. You can see that top one, I didn't worry too much about the petals, and that's because it's running off the nail, and there's just a little bit of it anyway, so you're not going to see a whole lot of it. I think that having the centers in them just kind of finishes the whole look. You don't have to be super picky, because this is very Art Deco, so don't get crazy thinking everything has to be perfect. It really doesn't. Okay, I've cured those other two nails. We are going to dot this nail as well. I'm not going to show you the whole nail because I think once you've seen it, you've seen it. I'll show you the first couple flowers, and then we're actually going to be matte top coating. I know the look this spring is shiny. Yes, I know. They're going away from anything matte. Everything's shiny again. So I know that it's shiny, and that is completely cool. But right now, I'm going to do it in matte because I was really going for that 70s retro feel because that's where I was at. That's where I was at with this set. And I succeeded. I think they were great retro nails with the flowers and the colors, the particular color scheme, and just, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to do I did do the whole thing. I don't know why I thought I had shortened that, but I guess I'm going to show you the whole thing, and that's fine because I'm talking through it anyway. So I am going to put some dots in there. I just smudged that flower a little bit, so I'll fix that up in a minute. Because I don't know how I hit that, but I did. You probably saw it on the video. I didn't even notice. I was too busy talking. I hope your spring is going lovely. It's already almost May, which is just crazy to me. And because everything was early in the US this year, we have already had Easter and all of those things. So I feel like the spring is going to feel a little long, but not in a bad way, because we have all of that sort of behind us already. And now we're just going to hang tight and plant flowers, and everything's turning green. It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. I've been waiting for that for a while. So yeah, here we go. Now I finally gave up on showing you all the many dots I was going to paint. So this is the Madame Glam matte top coat with sparkle, because you're going to have a little sparkle in there. At least you do for me. And I actually really like the matte sparkle. I think it puts it a little on trend, because, you know, sparkle is a thing for this, like subtle sparkle is a thing for this spring. But it is still matte for those that like matte. Some people love matte. I'm kind of a shiny girl myself, but, you know, occasionally I like a matte set too. We're going to cook these in the light for 60 seconds to cure them, and this is the result you get. Now, check this out. Did you notice the color change? I'm going to show you two pictures in just a second at the end of this video. One is a little out of focus, and I apologize, but it really demonstrates what these colors will do with some heat, which is fun. 2 looks in one. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you again next week.